This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while celebrating St. Vincent and worshiping Lisa Kleypas.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Hey HBs, happy St. Vincent week. St. Vincent would always. This week on the bonus feeds, we're doing more Ravenel goodness for you. On Friday, I'm serving up quickies on the first two books in this series, Cold-Hearted Rake and Marrying Winterborn. That'll be on Patreon and our Apple Podcast subscription. Speaking of Patreon, we've got some beautiful new members to shout out. Hey, thanks and welcome to Burbtown, Karen P., Gemma, Love Fang Love, Rebecca S., Milkberry, and Rachel. Today, we're celebrating Sebastian St. Vincent through his son, Gabriel. We couldn't stop squealing over this perfect specimen of a man raised by Sebastian and Evie, so this is going to be a 2-week celebration. Here's part 1 of 4 in our recap of Devil in Spring by Lisa Kleypas. Hey, Sabrina, guess what happened to me recently? I discovered the wonders of correctly prescribed Adderall.
Yeah. It's good, huh?
It's bananas. So I've been on like a regular ADHD medication that has helped for a lot of things. But I still have times where, like, I just will walk from room to room. I'll turn around in circles. Like, I just have no idea what's going on. And so I talked to my psychiatrist about it, and she was like, well, we can stack, like, we can put a low dose of Adderall that you take just on an as-needed basis. So on good days, like, just do you, just, caffeine or whatever. But on days where you're like, I have to get something done and I'm a hot mess, take this teensy bit of Adderall and oh doggy, it's like I've leveled up. It's crazy.
It feels like that was how I felt when I got on Vyvanse for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
this is crazy. There were several times, Sabrina, you're going to be so proud of me. There were several times where I was like, I need to edit this one single audio track before I like put it in something else. And I had several thoughts about, like, I don't know, quieter keyboards and like a bunch of other shit, like what seeds I'm going to be sowing, redoing the thing downstairs. And I didn't stop editing to do any of those things while I was editing.
that's honestly incredible.
I know.
I feel that's so hard. That, like, it's almost like it takes away the... if I don't do it now, it's never going to get done, which was
the
like
impulse that I have to do it now or else.
Well,
it
and
takes
like,
that away.
To be honest, previously, because like I feel you, previously, if I didn't do it when the impulse happened, it
I
didn't
wouldn't
get
be able
done.
to remember it. No.
Even if I wrote it down, the drive to do it is suddenly gone.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to harness the moment that your brain is like, this is what I want to do right now.
Yeah. And it's so interesting that, like, I can't tell. I'm actually kind of like, so I've been talking with you about it, but the last 2 weeks of my life, I'm still on my Vyvanse. I'm still properly medicated. So I'm handling a pretty challenging situation in my life right now better than I ever would have in the past, right? Like, I'm still more functional than I would have been in the past. But it's so interesting because so many, like, I've dropped the ball on a lot of things in just in general in a way that is very reminiscent of pre-ADHD medication. I don't even know what the difference is, but it's so interesting, the intersection of neurodivergence and mental health, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And how much, like, medication does help, but it's not a fix-all. It's not. Because, like, with the mental health challenges right now, because of the situation, like,
the added stress,
a direct, even with the medication,
harkening back
like,
to past traumas, like all of those things coming to the fore.
Exactly. And it's like, God, it's frustrating. I want Vyvanse to be like the fix-all, but ultimately it's not.
It's just a tool.
Well, and I know that I would be worse off without it right now. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
But like, ooh, it's a bit annoying the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, man, I want that fit. Because, like, I remember that exact feeling that you're having right now where it was like, holy shit, this is a game changer. Oh,
it's wild. It's wild. And the only reason I'm able to do that is because my overall, like, everyday make sure I can function on a regular level and keep kids alive and stuff is a non-stimulant medication. So then putting a small stimulant medication on top of that every once in a while is safe
as
to
needed.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Vyvanse is a stimulant, right?
Yes. Yeah. Because I tried a non-stimulant, and it for a lot of different reasons was not only not effective, but actively made my life significantly
detrimental.
Worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that 6 months of my life.
I do.
I don't, hardly. So glad somebody does. Anyway, granted, there was a lot more going on. This is not to tell, like, I don't know how much of this you're cutting, but, like, listener, if you can hear this, this is not a dig on a non-stimulant ADHD medication. It just, boy.
Yeah, it's like where I was on an SSRI. My psychiatrist put me on an SSRI for a bit, and it made me more depressed. Like, you know, it's just the way that different people react to different
medications,
meds.
Different situations, different mixes of medication. Boy,
there you go.
Wow, listener, a holistic view to your health where all of your practitioners work together is
honestly
critical for some people. It is non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. And you know what? I had this thought the other day. St. Vincent would always make sure you're medicated. You know?
Hi, listener. This actually works out because I'm almost 100% certain that this heroine has ADHD.
Absolutely.
So, like, I feel like she would benefit from either a Vyvanse or a non-stim plus a little Adderall.
ADHD, but yes.
Yes, I would agree that she has ADHD.
Yeah.
I am ADHD, and I was watching Pandora live her life, and it felt a little bit like watching myself, like a little rat in a cage. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So we are doing it in honor of St. Vincent's Day.
Listener.
Yes. Happy St. Vincent's Day. We are doing Devil in Spring because we figured, like, let's see the progeny of the one and only Sebastian the Lord St. Vincent, now the Duke of Kingston. And hold on. I just have to make a proclamation. This is a man raised by St. Vincent.
Oh, yeah.
With the moral grounding of Evie. But, like, this man is Gabriel, you're a dreamboat. Okay.
Hey, Mel, actually, I have a question. How much of Lisa Kleypas' series have you read?
Not enough.
Have you read any more of the Ravenel series?
I think I've read like one more, but it was a long time ago.
All right.
And I took out the rest of the Ravenel series.
No.
I don't know if you noticed on Libby's.
I did not.
I
but
just took them all
just
out.
a heads up, one of those books, I've already decided that's our book for St. Vincent's Day next year, because if we're going to do his kids, we're going to do all his kids, you know?
All his kids?
Well, not all of them, but there's a secret boy. There's a secret boy in the Ravenel series.
Oh, that's right. You are a West girly.
Oh, I am a West girly, but that's Phoebe's book.
Yeah. Okay. What's the other one?
There's a secret boy. There's a secret son.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we'll do his book.
No, I thought that
next year.
He's a Ravenel, not a St. Vincent. St. Vincent's not a Ravenel.
If you haven't read this series, then you don't know, Melody. Then
St. Vincent has a biblo that he didn't take care of.
That he didn't know about, Melody.
I'll die. I'll die. That's awful. Everybody should be raced by Sebastian the Lord St. Vincent, now the Duke of Kingston.
I would have to go look at double check the book, but I'm 99.
Is it Tom Severin?
No. I am 99% certain that this guy is, if I remember correctly, a St. Vincent baby.
Ooh. All right.
But also, yes, I was, Melody, reading this book. Every time Phoebe came up, I was like, so like
Phoebe.
West and Phoebe? West and Phoebe.
Yeah.
And like the fact that you have already, I'm going to tell you, Melody, that it is a personal affront to me. It is a personal attack. It is possibly the cruelest thing that you've ever done to me.
Oh my God.
That
is this
Devil's
like how
Daughter
I didn't invite you to my wedding?
Already been recorded. You've already done West Ravenel's book, because listener, I have a confession to you. If you've ever seen me in the cult, I'm like, so like HB Erica at one point did like a Lisa Kleypas tournament of like heroes and stuff like that in the cult, and it was delightful and wonderful. Or like somewhere in HB world, HB Erica did a tournament, and like I don't remember who won. I just remember that every single time it came up, I was like rabidly screaming about West Ravenel.
Yeah.
And then I joined the podcast.
So this is exactly the situation, like how you're mad at me for not inviting you to my wedding when I didn't know you when I got married.
Yeah, and honestly, it's fucking offensive.
You know what, though?
It's rude.
I will say.
It's a fucking attack. I can't believe that West Ravenel showed up in this book for approximately 0.5% of this book. But every time Phoebe came up and she was so sad about her late husband.
Grieving.
And I was like, baby, West Ravenel is coming for you. It's fine. It's okay. And then every time I thought that, I was like, and I don't even get to fucking record on that book. I don't even.
You know what, though? We can ask listener what they think, because when we recorded on Devil's Daughter, my life was bananas. I'm pretty sure I was like trying to move at the same time or something nuts. And for the recording, I hadn't finished the book. I hadn't finished like the last, I think, 20% of the book. And so they told me what happened. So I'm wondering, maybe it's worth a re-record where I actually immerse myself in the text and you get to squeal about West Ravenel. I don't know. We can ask listener, but... You should see her face right now.
What if I make you a bargain?
Okay.
What if the bargain is we plan to do West Ravenel's book, and if listener has a problem with it, then they can speak up. So it's not really a bargain so much as like... I'm coming in a little bit like a Romance-Landia dictator. An HPHQ. I'm in charge here, so I'm making a decision. Now that you have thrown it out there as an option, I think that us doing that as a re-record sounds like a great idea.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea. Like
And
the
listener,
the other episode will still exist, right?
if you have an issue with it, listener, speak up. Speak up. I just know that y'all are more likely to speak up if you're unhappy with the idea than speak up if you're like, actually, yeah, I'd love y'all to do a re-record.
I will say though that like the look on Sabrina's face when she said "speak up" was a hard fuck around and find out. So, like, I know this is only an audio medium, and I just need to like put the warning out there. Well, I need to contextualize it for a listener.
It's fine. Just pull the video. I will through the power of St. Vincent and West Ravenel, I will get the social media back up and running for this fucking podcast.
Okay, look. Actually, speaking of social media and St. Vincent's Day, we have always known as a podcast that St. Vincent is the best Lisa Kleypas hero, period, the end. Okay? We've always known that. That's why we created St. Vincent's Day, because what? Yep, as a podcast. And so, but now
I know the party line. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. But now we have empirical data saying that the Sebastian, the Lord St. Vincent, is in fact the best Lisa Kleypas hero. Y'all, if you are not following Romancing the Data on like every platform you can find them on, you need to go do that right now. She recently just did a Lisa Kleypas like showdown tournament that everybody got to vote on.
It ends right around like now when this episode is coming out.
No, it's already done.
Oh, it's already done? Oh.
Yeah, it's toast.
Sebastian won?
Yeah. And then she also did the next 3 dudes against each other to see like, you know, who would come out on top then.
Who are the next top 3?
Great question. I don't remember because they're not Sebastian, the Lord St. Vincent.
I cannot believe. So
My Lord.
You just keep, as far as the love affair between me and West Ravenel goes, and Phoebe, frankly, we're a throuple. You consistently, before meeting me and since meeting me, let me down as far as that is concerned. On a pod level, we're doing great, you know, but I'm questioning
what am I doing?
Non-professional relationship right now. Since you are not actively keeping up with every instance
West
of
Ravenel thing?
West Ravenel on the social medias. How could you?
Well, okay, so in the regular showdown, it was...
Wait, no, hang on, pause, please pause. If West Ravenel's not even up there, I don't know that I can... He's not, is he? He's 5, isn't he? He's not even in there. He's so low on the list. Oh my God, Melody. Oh my God, I can't take this. Just tell me, where is he? Oh God, no, I don't want to know, actually. Don't tell me. Oh, you know what? No, it's fine. It's more West Ravenel for those of us who love him with a burning, fiery passion in our souls.
So the top 8, look, he was in the top 8. Okay? You should see her face. And then he went up against Reese Winterbourne and lost hard. It's tough, right? It's tough.
Everyone fucking loves... I love a Winterbourne too, but like, y'all are wrong. All of you are wrong, okay?
I hear you. And like, I'm telling you right now, Heaving Bosoms will support more Lisa Kleypas heroes holidays, okay? Because BFF of the pod, Robin... It's Derek Craven would never, St. Vincent would always. She's decided that Reese Winterbourne already did. And then if you want to come up with a catchphrase and a day to celebrate, you let us know and we will put it everywhere.
Well, it's West Ravenel, and West Ravenel would put in the work is what he would do.
I like that.
Because to be clear, I would like West Ravenel just as a character in a book, but the reason I'm so obsessed with him is because we see him in the first book in the series, and he is a hot mess.
Yeah.
And then reading every book after that in order and seeing see him grow and thrive and put in the work
and then change the whole farming industry.
And then change the whole farming industry and then love Phoebe with a devotion and a sacrifice.
And an understanding.
And okay, we have to stop because we're not here for West Ravenel, much to my chagrin.
I hear you.
Like I said, if you don't want a redo or a re-record of Devil's Daughter, let us know and we'll take it into consideration.
But we will say that Sabrina is chomping at the bit to be able to put her thoughts out there on Devil's Daughter. So
it's gonna be very Cade St. Cloud, you know? I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a great episode. I'm not gonna
I don't know. I love that episode because you are a gremlin throughout the whole thing.
I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be particularly thoughtful or well put together or anything like that.
The heaving bosoms way.
yeah, but like it's gonna be a little bit like somebody has slipped something into my Fruit Loops, you know? I'm gonna be a little here, a little there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's you know what?
That's it.
Sometimes
that's it.
Sometimes you just need to love something with a love that is more than love. And in fact, borders on, I don't know that I'd say unhealthy.
Look, man, we're here
obsessed.
celebrating an entire day that we made up for. Like, we are the people who understand, okay? You're talking to the people who understand.
And that let's just jump into it because boy howdy, I sit here screaming about how I'm a West Ravenel person, but like I'm also a Sebastian St. Vincent person because
I was not expecting this prologue.
I forgot. Also, I will never forgive Heaving Bosoms. Okay? I will never forgive this podcast. Hot take.
What did we do?
I've reread more books in the last 2 years since I've been on this podcast. I've reread more books than I ever have in my entire life, probably because of this podcast. And I'm angry and upset and miserable about it because I've enjoyed rereading them. And I've always been firmly...
So maybe you're not a not-rereader anymore. Maybe you are.
The problem is that there's so many books out there, and if I spend one or two of my limited days left on this earth because of this mortal coil, there is a limited amount of time, okay, that I have to read books. And if I spend one or two of those precious, precious days rereading a book, that's one or two books that I don't get to read. Because I reread.
I hear you. But when it's something like adjacent to Sebastian the Lord St. Vincent, it's always going to be worth it.
That's a slippery slope, Melody. If I allow that book into it, then what's going to stop me from rereading Whispers of the Deep 7 times?
That's the only reason.
What's going to stop me from... Do you know how many books St. Vincent shows up in Lisa Kleypas's books? So
I love it.
I'm just going to reread all of Lisa Kleypas. You know what? This is a direct call out to my friend in HB Mariana, who rereads the Ravenels and Lisa Kleypas' series many times on the regular, like once a year. And
nice.
Do you know how many books that is? Do you know how many books that means I don't get to read? That would put me at like only 60 new books for the year. Okay?
Sure. Okay. So anyway, back to St. Vincent, because that is why we're here.
I would get through so many books if St. Vincent was my man. I wouldn't have to work. I'd read so many books. He'd be like, yeah, baby, enjoy.
I mean, seriously, I will say that this book had a noticeable lack of coziness. You know, St. Vincent spends so much time making Evie cozy in their book. But, you know, this is done during the season. It's summer times, so it's fine.
It's not physical cozy. I feel like Gabriel it's not physical cozy, but it is like mentally and emotionally cozy. It's cozy in oneself.
You're right.
As a person.
Oh my God.
Gabriel is perfection.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, I know
so
I am.
we open up in this prologue, and Evie, she's in her 40s or 50s or something. She's taking care of a baby. She's bathing a baby. And then once everybody leaves the bathroom
from this prologue, and I was like,
it's so good.
I'm not even we haven't even met the hero yet. Sabrina, this book is not about St. Vincent, Sebastian, Lord St. Vincent. You need to stop taking out highlights.
I don't know. I remember every
Evie.
morsel of St. Vincent I got in this book. So she hears a voice behind them, and
I
the
see
voice
we've
says,
hired a new nanny. How delightful. Clever masculine hands slip beneath the loosening apron, moving in a supple caress from her waist to her breasts. What a buxom little wench. I predict you'll do well here. I should probably warn you, the seductive voice continued, to keep your distance from the master. He's an infamous lecher. A smile came to her lips. So I've heard. Is he as wicked as they say? No, much worse, especially when it comes to women with red hair. Poor lass, I'm afraid he won't leave you alone. And Evie shivered in reflexive pleasure as she felt him kiss his way along the side of her neck. How should I handle him? Frequently, he said in between kisses. Oh, it's you, Sebastian said in a tone of mild surprise, seeming to ponder how he had ended up kneeling on the bathroom rug with his wife in his arms. I was prepared to debauch a resisting servant girl, but you're a more difficult case. You can debauch me, Evie offered carefully. Her husband smiled. His glowing gaze moving gently over her face, he smoothed back a few escaping curls that had lightened from ruby to soft apricot. Oh. My love, I've tried for 30 years, but despite my dedicated efforts, a sweetly erotic kiss grazed her lips. You still have the innocent eyes of that shy wallflower I eloped with. Can't you try to look at least a little jaded, disillusioned?
And then he says, I'm going to take you to the bedroom and debauch you right now. Pay attention this time.
I also have that highlighted, but I had to stop. I already just read you 2 fucking pages. I love him so much. I have so many St. Vincent quotes. It took me like 4 times as long to read this stupid fucking book because I was pulling highlights. At one point, the thing was like, hey, the publisher doesn't let you take out more highlights than this. And I was like, bet. And we're just going to leave it at that. There you go. You can wonder. That's right. If they successfully kept me from using these for my personal use.
Sabrina's gonna get her highlights, okay?
Everything's fine.
Yeah. So the reason that he's in this bathroom, though, is because there's been a scandal with their eldest son, now the current St. Vincent, Gabriel. And he's ruined a Ravenel girl.
Yep.
And Evie's like, oh my goodness, what are we to do? And he's like, don't think about that. I'm going to debauch you real good. We can think about that later.
I just needed to let you know the lay of the land, but now stop worrying about your son and worry about me instead.
So then we get into the heroine's point of view.
Pandora, you are like looking into a mirror in the best and worst kind of way.
Yeah. And like, I think one of the reasons that I really loved this book is that at the end of the day, it's really just about finding your people, you know?
Yes.
Pandora feels like she doesn't fit anywhere and she can't be a lady in society because she's just terrible at it, right?
Well, she also is like regularly referred to as growing up essentially feral because there were no adults keeping an eye on her. Like, have you read the books leading up to this?
Not yet.
Okay. She and her sister Cassandra might seem like a delicate, sweet flower with like a little bit of sass in this book. No, they're both feral, okay? They like Devin meets them in the first book in this series and when he goes to take over the estate after their brother dies. Wait. And Devin is like,
what have I done?
All of these women are you can't do that. And they're like, tell me why. And he's like, because society. And they're like, society don't give a fuck about us, so we don't give a fuck about society. It's like,
I love it.
Yeah. And so now, like, seeing them in
I
society.
read this book and I immediately took out Devin and Reese's books. You know, like that's definitely going to happen immediately. Yeah. Because Devin is also a goddamn swoony genius.
Melody, just wait until I'm about to if we didn't have, if I did not have like 14 books to read for podcast in the next 3 weeks, I would be rereading this entire series. It's so good. It's so good. If you want to give me quickies on them instead, I'd be open to that.
Oh my God, yes, please. Yes, please. Okay, wait. Early Pandora, though, really reminded me, all of her inner thoughts reminded me a lot of how I thought about myself before my formal ADHD diagnosis, because she just can't function within the bullshit that she has to, you know? Mm-hmm. And so much of my self-talk was like, I'm bad at this, and I'm, you know, I can't do X, Y, and Z, and what's wrong with me, and all that. But there's not. She just needs something a little bit different, and society sucks. So anyway, she's at this ball, right? And she's being a wallflower because she doesn't dance. Mm-hmm. And her sister and she have kept the secret of why she can't dance for their whole lives. And so now at balls, she's just like, a horse stepped on my foot. I'm so sorry. I can't dance with you.
Yeah. So just to give you some context, listener, just because we'll get to it at some point, because it's a very important scene.
Pivotal.
Tempestuous. Anyway, so she has... I'm flustered. This entire book, I was so flustered. I love Gabriel so much.
I've read it 3 times. I've read it 3 times, so.
You're the influence. You're what's causing this. Anyway, God, this scourge of rereading in my life, it's all your fault. Oh my God, not only have you taken West Ravenel from me, you've also introduced me to detrimental things to my life and happiness. Anyway.
You've been just as happy. You just have FOMO. You just have reading FOMO. That's it.
Have FOMO, which is so stupid. I've read more than a book a day for this year.
Yeah.
There's nothing, but I'm still missing out on so much. Anyway. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't. Okay, we have an episode. This is supposed to be an episode put together. We're talking about a book. I have notes.
That's right.
Okay. Wow, I feel this is very Pandora coded. Okay.
So she doesn't dance. Is it about the fact that she doesn't dance and why?
Yes.
There we go.
Oh my God, I'm sweating. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my God. You tell them, you explain. I have to take off my sweater.
Oh, you want me to tell them why she doesn't dance? Yeah, okay, all right. She's currently hacking up a lung. So she doesn't dance because she has an inner ear injury from childhood that has basically given her situational vertigo. For the most part, she's okay, but if she spins at all or if she's in the dark, her body has no idea which way is up, and it's really hard for her to move around, and like she just falls all the time. And so her family has always pegged her as like clumsy or whatever, but this is actually an injury from an incident of childhood abuse because their family is terrible. Their parents are terrible, and like I haven't read Devin and Catherine's book yet, but the brother seems like a loose cannon who would beat you or whatever. And one time when her parents were fighting, she was trying to eavesdrop because nobody ever spoke to her. All of the girls in the family were just looked at as like nuisances, essentially. Like only the boy mattered. Everybody else was like, I was trying for another boy and I got you, basically.
Over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. So she's trying to find out like what's going on in the house, like what's happening with her family. And the only way she can really do that is eavesdropping. And then when her dad finds her in the middle of this fight where they're like throwing things and all the business, he boxes her ears really seriously.
Bursts an eardrum.
Yeah. Both of her ears end up being ruptured.
And then doesn't get her medical help.
Yeah. Then they ignore it, even though she gets a fever, even though like all this stuff.
Well, and it's like it never happened. So, like, things that could be explained by an inner ear issue are just, oh, you're just clumsy. She's then
You're not paying
gaslit
attention
for the rest of her life about
Right.
why she does all of these things, even though she and Cassandra know exactly what the cause of it is.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
messed up. And it's a thing. It's affected her entire life. And that's on
Absolutely.
top of the fact that society is not built in a way that is open, friendly, comfortable for somebody like Pandora.
Even tolerant.
Not
It's not even
tolerant.
tolerant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's sitting on the sidelines because she doesn't dance. And her friend comes over and she's like, oh my God, I need your help. I was in this summer house because I was having a rendezvous with one of my old suitors, even though I'm married to someone else. And she's like, I thought you were going to stop rendezvousing.
Oh my God.
That's a mess.
Sweet, naive, innocent Pandora does not realize that rendezvousing involves sex.
More than a meeting. She
Yeah.
thinks it's literally a meeting.
Yeah. And that's what everyone gets so fussy about is lords and ladies meeting in the orangery and the sunroom
Yeah.
and things. And it's sweet baby angel. There are orgasms involved, hopefully.
Well, so Dolly lost one of her earrings in that place while she was getting busy with this other suitor.
Her special husband, like special fancy
It's a family heirloom.
earrings. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's probably a sapphire the size of like a ring pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're huge. They're everything.
It's gotta be because she freaking so she walks into this room and she immediately sees the glimmer behind the furniture. This thing is probably the size of a teacup chihuahua, the kind you carry around in a purse. So
Yes.
she goes over there and
Okay, can I just tell you something really quickly? I have never felt more seen. This is a situation I would get in so easily.
I one time got my head so stuck in a banister that they almost had to cut the banister to get me out of it. So yeah. And
Yeah.
was I a toddler? No, I
No.
was not. I was definitely of an age similar to Pandora where people were like, how did this, you're an adult. You pay taxes. And I was like, well, they didn't teach me taxes in school and they didn't teach me not to shove my head into banisters, apparently.
There we go. Well, and so one of Michael's like jokes that are not only a seed of truth, but it's just like all truth, but it is a joke still, is that
Okay. His commentary on accurate life experience.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's
tell me more.
that I just cackle at and carry on with my day.
Uh-huh.
So maybe it's only a joke to me now that I think about it. I don't know.
Everybody else is just like, yeah, Melody does that. And Melody is like, ha ha, so funny.
So he'll say, I'll do something. And then, inevitably, I'll try to carry 8 packages at once. Inevitably, it all does the banana splits onto the floor. And then Michael will go, what could go wrong? And his joke is that when both of us say what could go wrong, we're saying it in very different ways. He's literally thinking about all the ways something could go wrong and strategizing about it. And I'm going, what could go wrong? Let's just do it.
Wow, that's unexpectedly on point in a very sharp kind of way as somebody who carried in 6 cases of sparkling water yesterday so that I only had to do one trip. And it went 80% okay.
Yeah. No, I hear you. The other day,
and what could go wrong? Great question. Nothing. listener. Unshockingly, the answer is a lot of things.
Just this week, Michael came home with a whole passel of Girl Scout cookies, which like on its own is incredible. But I was trying to put them all away, and I did end up just throwing all of the Girl Scout cookies all over the kitchen somehow. Also, there was one time where I tried to carry 2 flats of energy drinks down to the basement. and I just ended up just sliding all the way down the stairs to the basement, going punk, 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 all on my butt. And there was just energy drinks everywhere. Like, what could go wrong?
Guess
and
what?
This is what
If it's basically a passel of sparkling water, you don't even need stairs for that to happen. I'm not saying that from experience, just, throwing it out there that that's a possibility. Hypothetically.
Well, that's what Pandora says when she sticks her arm through this thing to reach for this earring.
Hang on.
She ends up climbing through this open back settee.
It starts with her arm. And then she's like, you know what? I have to get all the way down to my little lithe lady hips.
I've got to put my shoulders in there. I've got to Winnie the Pooh this thing.
Yeah, really got to put my shoulder into this task, and quite literally. Then she gets stuck in the swirl dangles.
Yes, she just starts yelling, "Blast! Bollocks!"
and then all of a sudden she's like, man, what is the worst thing that could possibly happen? It would definitely be a guest showing of finding me like this. And then from behind her, she hears a voice.
Her throat clears.
It's very clear that this is, in fact, a guest. And he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, what an interesting pose. And she says, I'm not posing. My dress is caught in the settee, and I would be much obliged if you would help me out of it. The dress or the settee? The stranger asks, sounding interested. And he's just like, that's less interesting. But also, what did you just call those?
Yeah.
Swirly dingles. Because she also makes up words.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it so much. So wait, the other thing he does is that before he will even begin helping her, he blackmails her to find out the gossip, which was very Sebastian coded as well. Because he's like, why are you doing this? And she's like, I couldn't possibly tell you. I'm getting an earring. It's a friend's earring. And then he's like, well, whose earring? And she's like, I can't tell you. And he's like, okay, well, bye. He's about to leave. And she's like, okay. And so he ends up finding out, and he's like, oh, she was meeting Hayhurst, wasn't she? Yeah. Everybody knows about that.
A side character that doesn't even fucking matter, and you got halfway right without even thinking about it. And then a normal actual character that is a main character in a non-Sebastian St. Vincent related novel. And we end up with Apple Bottom. What? Melody, you have the most interesting brain.
Is Hayhurst correct?
It's Hayworth.
Oh, it's pretty close.
Oh, wait, that's Chayworth. Oh my God, Hayhurst is correct. Hayhurst is 100%. Melody fucking
incredible.
Carlisle.
Look
what?
At me. I'm on Adderall. So that might be part of it.
Maybe stimulant medication is actually a wonder drug. Oh man, legal meth, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it.
That's right.
So
he's helping her out, and then he hears like a "How dare you!" coming from behind him, because Chatworth, the guy who's throwing this party, and like a guy who has a vendetta against his dad, because in his infamous rake years, he did have an affair with his wife before Evie.
Well, and it's insane and understandable, unfortunately, that Gabriel, even though he's not a rake like this, he gets painted with the same brush because he's also a devilishly handsome blonde hair, blue eyes.
He's got that angel hair on him,
future Duke sex man. Everyone's
what
like, well,
to do?
Obviously he's out debauching ladies left and right. Like, and he, but we find out in this book,
fallen angel energy.
He only debauches one lady at night, you know?
Yeah.
The secret is that he doesn't actually debauch any ladies at night, except for one over and over and over again.
So Chatworth is like, you're getting married now. And then we see the Earl of Westcliff. He comes in because he's there too. And he's like, look,
his book
I think
is
we
so
can
cute
just...
too.
I haven't read that
book?
one either.
Oh,
no.
Melody.
Which I think is maybe the reason that I had such an easy time forgiving Sebastian the Lord St. Vincent for his actions in that novel. I hadn't actually experienced them firsthand. He does the light kidnap.
Oh, his book is that one.
Yeah.
I
He
forgot.
does the light kidnap.
I forgot.
On her. Oh, it's so good. Okay, anyway. So she's like, no. The worst thing that could possibly happen to me is being a peer's wife. I cannot get married.
I would rather be a charwoman than a peer's wife. And St. Vincent is like, pardon?
Yeah.
What?
And oh my God, one of my favorite things, she's like, you wouldn't even like me as a wife. I've done all of these things. I'm clumsy and I can't keep my mouth shut. And she's like, I've debased myself with so I've lowered myself with some really debauched reading or something like that. What is it? What is her reading material?
She looks at him and she says, well, first she tries to pawn her sister off because she says, if you let me go fetch her, she's the twin, the nicer, prettier one, and you're the kind of husband she's been hoping for. If you let me go fetch her, you could compromise her, and then I'll be off the hook. People certainly wouldn't expect you to marry both of us. I'm afraid I never ruin more than one young woman in a night. Man has to draw the line somewhere. And Pandora decided to take another tack. You do not want to marry me, my lord. I would be the worst wife imaginable. I'm forgetful and stubborn, and I can never sit still for more than 5 minutes. I'm always doing things I shouldn't. I eavesdrop on other people. I shout and run in public, and I'm a clumsy dancer. And I've lowered my character with a great deal of unwholesome reading material. Pausing to draw breath, she noticed that Lord St. Vincent didn't appear properly impressed by her list of faults. Also, my legs are skinny, like a stork's. And all of the guys are just like, oh my God, she just referred to her legs. Scandalous. Lock this one down before she gets into more trouble.
That's
my God, we're 45 minutes in and we're at
the meet cute. We're 45 minutes in, Sabrina, and we're at the meet cute.
No.
Okay? It's a problem. Look, if we have to, Sabrina, I will fall on this sword. Devil in Winter was 3 episodes. Okay? I think this could go 2 weeks. I don't know.
4 episodes? This is going to be 2 Monday,
but they're 4
Tuesdays?
Shorter episodes.
Are they?
4 shorter ones.
Are they shorter?
Sometimes.
Have we just taken that as an excuse to put 2-parters in 1 week instead
I think it will be it'll be at or around or less than 6 hours, which is roughly less than we did for Devil in Winter. I don't know. Look.
Hey,
we're 45 minutes in and they just met.
We did the same with that Duchess Lady book that you and I did. The very first one that you and I ever did. How did we turn that book into 6 hours? And this one we know that they're like,
ooh.
All right, let's go. We gotta go. We gotta go. I have less than 24 hours. I don't have time for a 6-hour recording. Oh my God.
I'm not saying it would be 6 hours. I'm saying it would be like 3 or 4.
Okay, fine. You've convinced me.
If we have to cross that bridge, we'll try not to. Okay.
I will fall on that sword.
Yes. So he's like, you need to return to the ball. And I guess I'm going over to your house to propose to your uncle or whoever he is.
Y'all, we zippy zap and he's there. And he walks in and Devin and Kathleen are standing in the parlor and he's talking to them and he's like, I have to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's
Turns
up?
out I have compromised Lady Pandora.
I seem to have compromised Lady Pandora. Utter silence descended on the room. In other circumstances, Gabriel might have been amused by the couple's blank expressions. Lady Trenier was the first to respond. What do you mean by compromised, my lord? Were you overheard flirting with her? Or perhaps discussing some inappropriate subject? And I love that they're like, but like, I get that.
What is it? Yeah.
Like, what were you doing?
I mean, Pandora can compromise herself 3 times a night, no problem. Like, how do you factor in?
Well, he says, I was helping her out of a settee, and Lady Trenier looked increasingly bewildered. That was very courteous of you, but why? By helping her out? I mean to say that I had to pull her out through the settee. Somehow she had managed to wedge the upper half of her body into the middle of the carved open back and couldn't free herself without tearing off her dress. Trenier rubbed his forehead and briefly pressed the heels of his hands against his eye sockets. That would be Pandora,
That's
he
Pandora.
muttered. I'm going to ring for brandy. Okay, I have to stop. I have a quote for like every fucking page. I have to stop. Don't let
I'm literally
me. No more
not,
quotes.
I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to, no, I'm giving you the green light right now.
No! Yellow light at the very least.
So they are both like, okay, it's really, really good of you and gentlemanly of you to offer to marry her, but we're not going to hold you to that. We'll try to figure it out otherwise. And he's like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be performing the wedding march soon. So like, here's my card. Let me know what you finally decide. And then Pandora is in the doorway and she's like, it's my decision and I already told you no.
Look you, Pandora said.
Look you.
Marriage is not on the table. Look you. Look you. Gabriel was simultaneously amused and outraged. Was she really speaking to him as if he were an errand boy? I hope you all signed up for a really poorly made audiobook because that's what this episode is.
At the very least, the sound quality is going to be good.
I'm obviously the professional audiobook narrator in this relationship. Huh.
So she's like, I'm not marrying you. I'm not marrying anyone. At one point, he tries to hand the card to her cousin and she just grabs it and rips it up into tiny pieces in his face.
Oh my God. But then they make eye contact because they're like looking deep at each other and like they have a moment of connection.
Yes.
And then she grins at him and he's gone. He's lost.
He's gone.
He is lightheaded and boy, he was a civilized man, an experienced one with sophisticated tastes, and she was, holy God, what was she?
What was she?
Guess what, Gabriel? She's the lady who just laid you out.
That's right. And like, even in this scene, Cassandra is also there. So he's seeing both twins together. And Pandora has, she's compared herself to Cassandra and mentioned that Cassandra is absolutely the preferable twin, right? And so he's looking at both of them and he's like, wow, Cassandra was beautiful and she was doing all the things she should do, like demurely look at the ground and all that kind of thing. And she held absolutely no pull for him at all. All he could stare at is this like vivacious raven-haired beauty. Oh, it's so good. So he's like, let me know, okay? Like I'm at your service and my offer for Pandora just stands.
And then he pulls out another calling card.
Yeah.
And she's like, absolutely not, and goes for it. And then he magic tricks it away from her. And she's like a little creature, like, what? How did you do that? And he's like,
Yeah.
if you're learn to ask nicely and I may show you someday. And she's like, never mind, I'm not interested. And he sees it. He sees it in her sparkly little eyeballs that she is interested. Ooh, he knows that's a lie.
Ooh, yeah. And he's already being like, I want to just like pour myself into this energy. Yeah,
that's my future wife right there.
He's thinking about taking her to bed already. Like it's a whole thing. But he believes her when she says that she would not be a suitable wife, like at all. Like, not in a single moment does Gabriel think, I can whip her into shape.
Nope.
It's either I don't marry her or I marry her as she is and, like, figure it out. So,
oh my God, he doesn't even know the extent of what as she is means.
That's right.
At this point.
So simultaneously, they're talking with their families. She's speaking with Devin and Kathleen, and Devin's like, I'm not going to make you marry anyone. I want to make sure that you have a husband who will cherish you and not end up getting frustrated enough to like treat you badly. And so you have my protection for the rest of your life. You don't ever have to marry anyone, but I think it might be good for you to get to know him a little better and see what you think.
Well, and what prompted this is they're having this conversation because we have a scene with Sebastian and Gabriel talking about bringing the Ravenels out to Heron's Point, where they have a home.
Oh my God. Look, so, first of all, I'm sorry. This scene with Gabriel and Sebastian is located around the billiard table that he does ravish Evie on in their book. Okay, it's the billiard table above Jenner's. Very important location for me, Melody. And oh man, the amount. Oh, Sebastian says your mother is the one who would want you to do the honorable thing. If it were up to me, I would be just as happy for you to do the dishonorable thing.
Oh my goodness. And they're talking though, and basically, Sebastian puts forth the option. He's like, you should get to know her, but also, like, if you really don't want this to happen, she has to get married, but she doesn't have to marry you. We'll just pay off some fucker and get this taken care of.
We'll get somebody out of debt.
And he is now explaining it, though, and he's like, oh, man, no wonder she's a wallflower. And Sebastian says, that explains it. He was silent for a moment, lost in some distant, pleasurable memory. Dangerous creatures, wallflowers. Approach them with the utmost caution. They sit quietly in corners, appearing abandoned and forlorn, when in truth they're sirens who lure men to their downfall. You won't even notice the moment she steals the heart right out of your body, and then it's hers for good. A wallflower never gives your heart back. Are you finished amusing yourself? Gabriel asked, impatient with his father's flight of fancy. Because I have actual problems to deal with. Still smiling, Sebastian reached for some chalk and applied it to the tip of his cue stick. Forgive me. The word makes me a bit sentimental. Do go on. He's talking about Evie. Have you read all of the... you haven't read any of the other Wallflowers books either?
No, I haven't.
Melody, St. Vincent's Day has been around for like half a decade. What the fuck? Melody.
I know. There have been situations, but it's weird. Since you came on the podcast, I can read a lot more than I used to. I don't know why. I don't know what has changed. Maybe that's your influence on me.
Is it like a competitive thing? You're like, well, if Sabrina's.
Oh, absolutely not. I can never keep up with you. No. Absolutely not.
You could bypass me, Melody. The problem, the reason you don't bypass me is because you read things 3 to 6 times in a row over and over and over again. Okay, 2 to 5, 4? Definitely 2 to 4 times in a row. Yeah. So guess what? You actually read more books than I do. The difference is that it is only a quarter of the actual number of separate, differentiated. But Melody, you have kept up with me book for book. Plus, as far as Saxon James and Eden Finley is concerned, I would kill for you to go figure out. I know that you don't, because you don't keep a list because you're an absolute gremlin monster. But I would kill to know the actual number of books you've read this year. Including the rereads. Interesting. And I would bet you $20, a cool $20 bill, that you have read just as many, if not more, books than I have this year.
I think that's dubious at best, but I will say that one of the reasons that I do reread dubious so much, yes, is because I'm committed to listener, and I can't take notes. You are committed to listener in a different way. You take notes. I can't.
Wow.
Can't do it.
Okay.
Used to try. Did fail. Figured out the better way to do it for me.
Hey, guess what, Melody? The difference between us is that if I didn't take notes, I still wouldn't reread.
That's what
Sorry,
I'm saying,
listener.
you're committed to listener.
Sorry, listener. There's too many books out there.
No, that's not a thing because you take notes. You are committed to listener too.
If I had notes on this book prior to this
Oh,
reread,
yeah.
I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have reread. I would have come in hot after not reading it in 4 fucking years.
Wowee.
That's not true. I would have reread. I would have read.
You would at least skimmed.
I would have read at least 2. I would have read 2 fucking paragraphs of my notes and been like,
I have to go back.
I have to go back. Continue.
I have to experience the world of Lisa Kleypas once more.
Well, especially because literally the minute you said we were reading Devil in Spring, and
Yeah.
I reread the synopsis just to figure out whose it was, like what the general thing was. The minute I read that synopsis, I went, the Holloway, the parlor. I knew exactly, this is very unusual for me, but 4 years later, and I knew exactly what book we were reading for podcast. Continue, it's fine. Yeah, so they invite them to Heron's Point, and Devin is just he's so beautiful. Like
Gabriel, Devin, which one? You
sorry,
said Devin.
Yeah, because I had moved on to the scene that you had already talked about.
Okay, got it. Yes,
if
please.
if you're done in Evie's debauchement room, then I was.
Well, all I have to say, the only other note I have about that is that Gabriel tries to look St. Vincent straight in his beautiful face and tell him that he doesn't understand kink. And Gabriel's probably like too much for him. He can't discuss his sexual appetites with St. Vincent.
And St. Vincent looks him dead in his beautiful, misinformed face and says, hey, buddy, our grandparents were doing things that would make both of us, frankly, blush. So, if you think that us elderly folk have no idea what's going on, then you are in for a world of hurt, my friend.
Yeah. Gabriel also says that she is completely unsuitable or whatever. And St. Vincent, the Duke of Kingston says, I'm wondering if you've thought that she might mature, that people change over the years. Do you think that would have any bearing on anything? Mm-hmm. And it ends up with St. Vincent saying that women are always going to surprise you. You're never going to understand it, but the beauty of it is to keep on figuring them out as life goes on, because he says that the only other person that is arrogant enough to say that a woman wouldn't surprise him is himself before he married Evie.
As a
and
youth.
He says, I thought that I would never find true happiness in the arms of just one woman, but I have. And I think that you can too.
Well, he's also just because she's a virgin doesn't mean she's not gonna be a little weird in the bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because, I know plenty of experienced people in the bedroom that are prudes. That experience has nothing to do with whether or not she's going to let you do weird things, which really, frankly, listener, to be
not
clear,
it's cute.
It is cute. It is cute. It is very cute because he is very concerned about it. But to be clear, listener, this is not a secret BDSM kink historical. He is it is such a relaxed form of domination and submission that people joke about it nowadays. They're like, oh yeah, you're not even kinky if you're into that.
Sure. Yeah, at one point he just ties her hands behind her back.
I can't believe you used the word just to describe that. Scene is
that scene is incredible. I'm not saying it in that regard. I'm saying it on the scale of kink.
Well, and it's basically what he is he wants to be dominant in the bedroom. He wants to take control and be in charge. And that, but specifically what makes it weird and unusual, quote unquote, in this world is he wants his partner to be uninhibited and to show that they feel good and react to things. And he's like, I also request things that are unnegotiable, non-negotiable, but also a proper husband would not ask for such a thing. It's blowjobs,
That's
listener. It's blowjobs. There's no, like, that's what it is.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because he understands the societal norm that, like, there are things that you don't ask your wife to do. Those are things that you only ask your mistress to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, you know, he wants to find, if he's going to marry for anything but, like, a business transaction, then he wants it to be to a person that, you know, he can treat like a mistress as well.
Yeah, lady in the streets, mistress in the sheets.
So they decide to go.
Oh, also, though, they do decide to go to Heron's Point, but in this conversation with Devin very explicitly is like, we're not bringing your chaperone. You are going to be very lately chaperoned this entire trip, because Kathleen had a chaperone the entire time she was being courted by Theo. And then, surprise, surprise, he's a violent drunk. Like, we're not doing that this time around. Like, and she's like, but I only have a week. And he says basically that's enough. Like, how he treats you when it is just the two of you and you are not actively being chaperoned, it says so much. You will know.
Yeah.
Like, you might be a strange, squirrely little thing, but you are somewhat observant.
You know when you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And if you feel comfortable around him, that's a really, really good sign. Y'all, they ride up to Heron's Point and they think that it's really weird that a farm worker and his kids are walking across the Duke's lawn. Okay, nope, Sabrina has to go back.
Absolutely not, Melody. You're the one who said we can. If this ends up being 4 episodes, then so be it. So you need to hold your fucking horses. Green light, green light. They're on the train, and she's talking to her sister Cassandra, and she's like, there's probably something wrong with him, and like, because Cassandra is like, well, because he's a rake, then what if he has like the pox? That
one of the poxes
that West Ravenel told them about.
Yeah, that's right.
Just throwing that out there. They had once overheard one of the stablemen singing a few lines of the blah, 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 blah. Later, Pandora, and the important part of this is later Pandora and Cassandra had badgered West to explain the mysterious malady until he had reluctantly told them. And then Cassandra says, I'm sure Lord St. Vincent doesn't have the pox. From what I saw the other night, he has a perfectly handsome nose. He'll catch the pox someday, Pandora persisted darkly, if he hasn't already, and then he'll give it to me. You're being dramatic, and not all rakes have the pox. I'm going to ask him if he does. Pandora, you wouldn't. The poor man would be horrified. So would I if I ended up losing my nose. So, like, that pox conversation is very important because it comes back in the funniest way.
Yeah, and
she's also taking notes. She also takes notes this entire book. Journey to Heron's Point, or the impending matrimonial doom of Lady Pandora Ravenel. Facts and observations. And then there's so many of them. I can't read you all of them. I want to, but I feel like we would legit get sued for, like, quoting too much of this book.
Well, and I don't know why this has, like, stuck with me so much, but when she says that she bets he has the pox, Cassandra's like, what are you talking about? And Pandora goes, I bet he has heaps of it. Like, he has heaps of the pox.
Well, they know about,
because they talk
French
about his
pox
mistress
and the English pox, and then later she's like, and all of the other ones, like the Australian pox and Bavarian pox and German pox, and he's like, well, we'll get to that scene. We'll get to that.
But this comes about because Cassandra tells Pandora that the gossip is that he has a mistress. And so she's already a little bit worried about mistress. And then also the pox that he probably has, one of the poxes. So now I believe they do get to the house.
Yes.
And there's a farm worker walking across the Duke's lawn with a boy on his shoulders and another boy walking beside him. And then as they are coming closer, she's like, wait, I've only seen that color hair one time. It was on St. Vincent, Gabriel St. Vincent. They pull up. Gabriel has been out with the boys flying kites that his little brother Ivo built. And he's like, I'm really sorry. I planned to be back in time. And then both boys are like, it's my fault for this reason. It's my fault for that reason. And everybody else goes inside. And then he stops her and he says, I really am sorry. I wanted to be dressed for you. I don't want you to think your visit isn't important to me. Which was so...
But it's not, Pandora said awkwardly.
I love her.
That is, I didn't expect fanfare when I arrived. You didn't have to be waiting here or tired at all. I mean, tired well. Nothing that came out of her mouth sounded right. I expected clothing, of course. Blast.
And then she meets the boys. She gets like down on their level. She ends up like coming up with this idea that like one of the kids lost their shoes because it was stolen by an octopus. And they should probably create some octopus repellent together. Mm-hmm. And then she gets tackled by a dog. And so she goes ass over tea kettle.
Very importantly, though, and this is like legit important, is she realizes that she's making up this fantasy about the octopuses and like making fun with the boys. And then she like looks up and she's like, oh shit, St. Vincent is right there. And that was completely inappropriate for a lady of the ton. And he goes, well, I guess we're just going to have to make sure that, well, I guess he won't stop until he gets 8 if he's stealing your shoes. And so he's playing along. It's so cute.
He yes-ands her. And she's thinking like, I've already fucked this up so badly. But he plays along and then, she gets tackled by that dog, Ajax.
He's so smitten, listeners.
Already. He doesn't even quite know it yet. But he is.
Oh, he knows. He's aware.
You're right. In the scene with St. Vincent on the billiard table, he tells him, like, here are all the reasons that she's unsuitable, but I don't want anybody else to have her. So there's at least that. So then as she goes ass over tea kettle because of this crazy dog, she starts giggling because she's like, this couldn't possibly go worse. And like all I can do is laugh about it. And he, when we get to his perspective, he finds that to be so refreshing and charming because any other girl of her station would, be upset or cry or be angry that they'd been so humiliated. But she just like goes with the flow and laughs it off, Yeah. Oh, it's the best.
Well, and then on their way in, she tells him that she doesn't like to make small talk because he asks her about the weather. He's like, so
he says, how was your
journey? And she looks at him and she's like, you don't have to do that because I don't like small talk. And I'm also
I'm
not
terrible
good at it. And he's like, well, okay, what would you rather speak of? And then she starts throwing out a lot of stuff like Darwin, women's suffrage, workhouses. Like, has music ever made you cry? And what vegetable you hate the most? And then she looks at him and she's expecting him to immediately be like, oh my God, somebody get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And he looks her dead in her face and says softly, carrots.
Carrots are his least favorite. And then he banters back and forth with her like about the form of carrot and do you like it? Carrot cake is fucking delicious.
He's wrong.
Everybody can fuck off.
Carrot cake is delicious. It might be my favorite cake. A good carrot cake with a good cream cheese frosting.
Yes.
Ooh, boy.
There is a bakery in Bayonne where I used to live that does vegan options. And their fucking vegan carrot cake changed my whole perspective on maybe the world, ? Like oh God, it's so good.
The only cake I can think of that I would pick over a good carrot cake is any, to be clear, any good, bad, ugly lemon blueberry cake.
Oh my God. Fair. But I will say, everybody knows that chocolate is my favorite thing in the whole wide world above anything else. And I would choose a carrot cake over a chocolate cake almost every time. It's just so good. So now, as they're heading inside, the Duke of Kingston, Sebastian Lord St. Vincent himself comes down. And go.
My son, what can you be thinking, keeping this enchanting creature out in the heat of midday? And why is she disheveled? Has there been an accident? She was assaulted and knocked to the ground, Lord St. Vincent began to explain. Surely you don't know her well enough for that yet.
Sir.
Bad shit!
And then, as they're walking inside, Sebastian asks her about the weather. Gabriel cuts in to be like, she doesn't like small talk. And she says, oh, but I would love to small talk with you, Sebastian, former St. Vincent. And then he says that small talk. Yeah, God, yes. Oh, at one point, Gabriel says that he's the Pied Piper of naive women. And then Sebastian goes, that's not true.
Naive and, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And gullible. He says the knowledgeable ones follow me as well. That's so good. Can you read what he says about small talk?
So before everything happens, St. Vincent does exactly what you said. It was like, hey, Dad, she doesn't like small talk. And he says, naturally, an intelligent young woman would wish to skip over mundane chit-chat, the Duke said, giving Pandora such an approving glance that she fairly glowed. However, he continued thoughtfully, most people need to be guided into a feeling of safety before they dare reveal their opinions to someone they've only just met. There's a beginning to everything, after all. Every opera has its prelude, every sonnet its opening quatrain. Small talk is merely a way of helping a stranger to trust you by first finding something you can both agree on. No one's ever explained it that way before. Pandora's, no one's ever explained it to me,
Melody, that way before. That now makes sense to me.
That's interesting. See, and like, I think that's why I've always said, because like, I like people, period. I like everybody, basically, until you give, like by default, until I'm given a reason not to like somebody, I generally give them the benefit of the doubt. And I have always loved small talk. And I think it's because it generally ends up, it's not hard for small talk to transition into something else, like, and like more. And so like, I've always liked small talk for that reason. And I wouldn't have been able to put a finger on why, but I think that's probably it. What St. Vincent just said. Like, so like, for example, I was at the nail salon yesterday getting my nails done. And I ended up in a conversation. I don't even remember how it happened. A lady, she told me my face looked familiar. Do I know you from somewhere? And so then we ended up, which I get that all the fucking time, which always makes me laugh because I'm like, I don't think I have a particularly familiar face, but apparently I'm wrong because everybody who I've never met is like, I know you. And I'm like, do you? Are you sure about that? But also like, I'm legitimately asking, are you sure about that? Because my Swiss cheese memory, we probably have met. And I just have no idea. But anyway, the point is that we got chatting. And then by the end of it, like maybe 30 minutes of on and off small talk chatting, I have her whole life story. And like, I know so much about this woman. And I guess it's something that I don't consider a skill or a talent that I have, where it's just really easy to segue small talk into something completely else. And small talk is just the initial entry point that everyone's comfortable with because it's small talk.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just interesting.
I don't know. It's funny because like situationally, I'll be okay with it. But similar to like, my romantic interests or whatever, it's more about chemistry than anything else. Like maybe it's not that I'm bad at small talk. It's that I just like, if when you get with a person that you're not even in the same dimension, let alone on the same wavelength. And like, it's just so, it's like your soul is slowly crumbling inside you.
No, to be clear, there are definitely people that you go down that rabbit hole with, and you're like, I wish I knew less about you after this
Yeah.
conversation.
Totally.
Actually.
Totally. Like, it's a pulling teeth. Well, no, but now that you explain it like that, I think that because with the people it goes well with, it immediately goes to like other deeper or funnier or whatever topics. With people like you have chemistry with, I never remember that it started with small talk.
Interesting. It's almost like rewriting a little bit of history because it turned into something more than that. It didn't begin with that.
That's
interesting. I would argue that that's pretty common for most people, right?
Yeah, I think I've only been associating small talk with when it goes badly. And then I say I hate small talk.
I think most people do. I think what it really is.
I think that's true.
Like, I'm not going to say all people who hate small talk feel this way, but I feel like a lot of people who, when they describe the reasons that they don't like small talk, it's because they have small talk with people that they aren't compatible in any way with, and they can't find any common ground between them.
Right. Because then that conversation stays in small talk. It's like stasis is small talk. Right.
Well, yeah. And I feel like that would, like, if that had happened yesterday, for example, shout out Miss Gloria, that it could have been agonizing. It could very easily have been agonizing, especially in the current climate in this country
and where you live.
And I live in southeast rural Arkansas. Like, it very easily could have been a rough conversation.
Yeah.
But there was no reason to make it a deeply uncomfortable experience at the nail salon. I'm never going to see this person again. So, like, why? So I very carefully steered the conversation elsewhere. Anyway, the point is, I like small talk, but I think that's what it is you don't find common ground. What? It's I like small talk is the bad place if you get stuck there, and the good place if it goes well.
Yeah. But I think that I have a feeling Pandora has that same idea about small talk, because when you meet another neurodivergence that meshes with yours,
also, like, okay,
best friend forever bullshit that happens.
Factors.
Yeah.
That affect these things.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we see it on page. Small talk going poorly.
Oh, yeah.
Pandora.
It's great. So anyway, as they go inside, they're like, okay, you're going to meet the Duchess next. And Pandora's like, oh my God, I really have to keep it together. But then she meets Evie and she like warmly grasps her hands, and they're joking about the dog. And she's like, I'm so glad you're here. Here are the things we've done already to make you comfortable. If there's anything else you want. Pandora's standing there being like, I have to curtsy. The thing that I have to do right now, says society, is curtsy. But she's still holding my hand. So like, what? How do I? And she realizes as she spends more time with them that there wasn't no need for a curtsy in this house, because these are her people, These are weirds too.
This is very much this scene that you're specifically talking about that made me go, oh yeah, this girl is definitely on the spectrum of some flavor. Because she is like, there's a script, and I know the script. Yes. I've practiced the script. This is what I do in this situation.
It's been hammered into my skull.
Well, and it's even beyond that. It's not like I understand why this is the script, but like, this is what I have to do because it is script. And like, if I don't do this, then like, I cannot move forward. Yes. I don't know these people, so I can't just be natural and unmask and And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, because she ends up sort of just like dipping her knees in like a weird not curtsy, but she did the thing at the end.
Yes, and then if you notice though, that once she did that and she fulfilled the script, it was fine.
The conversation was great. And I loved it because Evie is so warm and welcoming and all the things that she's like, I will do anything to make this woman happy. I want her to shine her light of approval on me so badly.
I am not somebody who drives. I listen to music when I drive. Like, I wish I was somebody who could do like audiobooks because on a long drive, that sounds great, right? Just
Yeah.
tear through a book, whatever. And I'm just not somebody. I need music. I need a beat to like keep me
Sure.
going. But boy, what a perfect time for a reread of Devil in Winter. I have a 5-hour drive tomorrow and like that would be
Yeah.
perfect. And I just know that I can't. I've learned that about myself, but I'm just like,
Can you put music on as well?
Melody.
Is this a
Not
melody
all
thing?
of us.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I also have 15 train tracks in my brain all going at the same time. It is in fact
Yeah.
a train station up there.
Sure.
Like you. However, I can only do whistles. I cannot do train whistles and people talking. Okay?
Okay.
I cannot
okay,
do the
got it, got
boombox
it.
on the sidewalk out front and people talking and the train whistles. That is too much audio. I have an audio processing issue, Melody.
Mhm,
It is hard
mhm.
enough understanding words in my brain with one input source. Melody
you.
Carr,
I
can you
hear
just
you.
like listen to the music and edit?
Well, if it was
and-
only
and listen to the
instrumental, I think you
audiobook?
could.
Oh,
Like-
instrumental, I could. So like
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna put one thing. I'm only have my phone. Can you play music and an audiobook at the same time off of your phone?
No. No, not that I know of.
Can
I don't
you
think that's a
imagine
thing.
me rolling down the fucking highway with my phone playing an audiobook and like my
Mhm.
laptop open in the passenger seat? Like,
Uh-huh.
You're a gremlin.
Look, you do what you got to do. You know?
I don't gotta do it though, Mel.
No, you don't. You don't. Absolutely not. So as
You
they go
do
inside,
both. You said that so flat too. You were like,
can't you
like,
do both?
the obvious
I don't
solution.
Just put them both on.
Fascinating. You fascinate me.
That's where we're going to leave you for today. Tomorrow, we'll be back with maybe the best trip to the beach we've ever read. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow.